was like, that's the van that I want to get, because it was $3,500.
Dollars?
Yep.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Yeah.
And it looks like you've done a no-build, essentially no construction. Hi everyone, welcome back to my next video. Today we're going to meet Rowan. Hi Rowan.
Hi.
And you're in a nice Ford van, so I'm interested to see there. And how long have you been on the road?
2 years. It'll be 2 years in April.
Why do you end up living in a van?
So I taught for a long time, and then things changed in life, circumstances, events, and so I was looking for a way to reduce my bills, but I wanted to be able to save up money. And so I looked at my biggest bill, which was rent. At that time, my son was 16, so I wanted to keep paying rent at the apartment so that he'd have a place to live, but I started planning for a way that I'd be able to save up that money that I would be spending on rent. And so I really started looking into vehicle life, van life in particular. Around that time, it was 2019, as a way to, have more freedom, mostly financial at that time.
So you're still young yet. How are you supporting yourself on the road then?
Right now, I am fortunate that my YouTube channel has grown, and I'm able to live on that. I do have a few other streams of income, so it's not solely off of that. I do have hats that I sell online. I have a Patreon, and I also have DoorDash. And so that, when things are slower in one area, I'm able to kind of pick up in another. So it's kind of like a cohesive system to make ends meet. And the beauty of this lifestyle is that my monthly bills are really low. DoorDash, I did full-time. Last year, I was doing it full-time before my channel was monetized. And that was a really fun way to travel around. I had my Honda Pilot and I drove around the country. And I love DoorDashing, and it helps make ends meet. And so even just last month, I picked it up again for a few weeks just to kind of supplement things. So
it doesn't, my first thought is they wouldn't work together well, but it seems like they work really well together.
Yes, they actually do. And I did take a 6-week road trip just to test it out, about DoorDashing on the road. And that was when I had my Toyota Corolla. And I was able to do it. I was still able to meet my bills, which at that point were significant because of the rent that I was still paying. So I was able to travel, stay in my car, DoorDash, and still pay on my apartment in Washington. And that's when a kind of a light bulb went off, that once I was not responsible for paying rent anymore, that I could travel, and that I was able to use the app, the DoorDash app, and Uber Eats. They go from state to state. It just transfers. You just go into an area, go online, start getting orders, and it's as if you were doing food delivery in your own area. So that's a lot of freedom. It's kind of like, which city do I want to go? And then I could spend a couple days outside of that city, kind of recharging, and then go in and work the weekends. And yeah, it's a lot of fun.
So if people are interested in either your hats that you're making or more on DoorDash, how can they get some more information from you?
I have some videos on my channel, my YouTube channel, which is just Rowan. That's the name of my YouTube channel. And I have videos that kind of go into specifics about the amount of money and show kind of the process and the pickups and the delivery. I call them dash and chats. If you go to my channel, you'll see those. So
everyone, if you're interested in DoorDash, and I think you should be if you need another source of income, or in hats, make sure you go and check out Rowan's YouTube channel. Okay, why don't we take a look inside your van?
Yeah.
All right, folks, let's go do that. So tell us a little bit about your van.
This is a 2010 Ford Econoline E350 series, and has 210, I think, on its way to 211,000 miles. And yeah, she's going strong, no issues.
And it looks like you've done a no-build, essentially no construction.
Yes, there's a little bit, there's a couple screws here that actually are no longer screwed in. This is loose, but and there's a few places like that where things are screwed in, but it's basically a no build. I got dimensions. That was the first thing I did. I started looking at vans. I saw this one. It's from a school district, and they were retiring some of their fleet. They got some new vans, and so I knew it had been well maintained because it was part of a school district, and so I was like, that's the van that I want to get, because it was $3,500.
Dollars?
Yep.
Wow, that's a great deal.
Yeah, and it did have a lot of seats in it.
Right.
And so I was looking for more like a work van, not a school passenger van. But once I got the van, I tried to take the seats out myself, and it was a bit of a struggle. And then I started thinking, what am I going to do with them once I get them out? And then I thought of the junkyard. And so that's actually a good idea to like go to the junkyard, because often they'll take them out for free, because then they can resell them. The nice thing about a passenger van is it's got insulation, and it's kind of soft versus the cargo van I had to kind of do the walls and everything. So that saved on money too. So the first thing I did was kind of the measurements. The bed is a big piece, and then I realized I wanted a kitchen area. I do a lot of cooking. When I was designing this one, it's kind of like, okay, what's my cooking area going to be? It's an upgrade from the other vehicles I've been in because I have more space here. So I had a lot of fun designing the kitchen. I wanted a nice big bed. I have my dog, and she sleeps next to me. And yeah, I kind of went from there. So once I had dimensions in terms of height and everything, this stuff's from Amazon. And then some of the more custom stuff, like the dimensions of the countertop, I went to Home Depot. So I go in with my dimensions, and they'll cut it, and then I just piece it together. The sink I got also from Amazon, and I just drilled a hole in the plywood. I stained the plywood. I drilled a hole in there, and I got a sink drain off Amazon too.
And does that go into a holding tank?
Yes, it's I got it from Walmart. It's big, it's blue, it's 7 gallons.
Right.
And I got the pipe at Home Depot, and yeah, I'll just dispose of it at where you dispose gray water. It's just gray water in there. So like a campground and things like that, they have those stations. Things have kind of evolved. I knew I wanted my water cooler up here. I used to move it and put it on the ground when I drove. And then one day I was like, I'm gonna tackle this so everything can stay fixed when I drive. I don't have to move anything when I drive. Everything stays where it is. So this I crocheted, you know, this thing. I can take this out, I can rinse it out and wash it. I can also refill it from up here. It holds probably 2.25 gallons, just over 2 gallons. And I keep extra gallons under the bed in the back and also under the passenger seat. This is something I made in 8th grade, 7th grade, wood shop. So I keep my toiletries in there. So in here is kind of just, I didn't clean any of this out, but there's a, a look at what I carry around. So I keep a stove under here. I love this stove.
Oh yeah, they're so handy.
Yeah, the REI Eureka, but there's a lot of different ones. And then I have under the bed my pots and pans.
I have to ask, people always want to know.
Yeah.
How do you go to the bathroom?
Yeah. Well, what started as kind of like an emergency. When I first moved into my car, that was like the big question. Yeah. And I had, you know, different kind of setups, and it was like in the emergency, usually in the middle of the night where I was stealth camping and I didn't want to get out of my vehicle. And I learned that having kind of like a Tupperware bucket or shoebox shaped thing at that point worked really well for me. And you can just line it. You know, that's for like pee.
Right.
So that's what I use. That's kind of system, an emergency, and I'll line it. But the nice thing about having the garbage bag lining is that if I do need to also go number 2, I could just deal with it, tie it up, dispose of it. So that's actually in my stool here, inside this. I did the lining myself with this. I got this off Amazon as well. And again, I had looked up the dimensions. I just pinned the bottom. This is actually an ongoing project here. I have to sew the bottom around. It had a bunch of pins and I'm taking them out. And but I did buy this at Joann Fabrics. I love this fabric. It just makes it kind of luxurious and goes with the decor. So inside is that bucket. I also have wipes in there, both sanitizing and just like cotton wipes. It serves as also my seating area for when I cook.
And how do you shower then?
So shower, I broke down a couple months ago and got a membership at Planet Fitness. For that, I was just either using campgrounds, recreation centers are a gem. So I'll use the recreation centers. I've Love's gas station. That's a little pricier, but when I'm like, woof, I need a shower, then I'll go to a Love's.
So how do you have solar?
I do. There's one actually behind the driver's seat. It's only 100 watt. I do have it set up if I need to, and it's the same one that I used when I was living in my Honda Pilot. And at that point, I had an EcoFlow River, I think it is, and it charged really well. I used double-sided tape, really good double-sided tape, and then duct tape, and I just taped it right on the ceiling. And I had a sunroof in that car, so I put the wire through the sunroof, and you couldn't even tell it was on there. I would like to get more solar and put it up on top of this van. I'm just not sure where I'd run the wire in yet. My power station is under here, and it's the EcoFlow Delta 2, and then I have a backup battery. I actually have two options for keeping food cold. I have a Yeti Cooler. It lives between the seats here, and this is not a refrigeration, it's just a cooler. Most of the time what I'll do is get frozen vegetables and keep it in with my food, because the bags of ice I've found are really messy. Under the bed, I have, it's an Alpicool refrigerator, and so I can use that, and that's got a freezer and refrigerator, and it's small, but most of the time I don't use stuff that's super perishable, or I'll use it right away. So this is the back. There's not, too much to see here, and what you can see is kind of cool. So there's a lot of storage space.
Yes.
This is the way I hold my bed up, is by these heavy duty totes. And then I got a piece of plywood that's custom, again, from Home Depot with the measurements.
Right.
So these all have storage. Some of them are backup, like coffee, oats, rice, things like that. And then there's 4 of them, one in each corner. And that's what I've used. That's worked great. And then I love swans. And so these I got from Amazon, the vinyl window covers.
So after 2 years on the road, what do you think? Is it something you'd recommend for anyone?
I love it. There's challenges. There are hidden challenges that until I think that you're living this lifestyle, you don't know. And one of them being just, the process of finding safe places to sleep every night. The amount of driving from those different places. Both of those things were kind of hidden challenges that I didn't know until I experienced them. But even with those, the joys of it have far exceeded my expectations. I absolutely love this lifestyle. I love the freedom to go where I want, and I love the simplicity of having to be intentional about the things that I have with me in my life, the objects that I'm responsible for, and I love the feeling of being more intentional about using stuff, of power, of water, of the foods I eat. Everything feels like I'm a little more intentional about it. And I love the community, the nomad community. So even though I got into it with the goal of financial freedom, the sense of freedom is extended much beyond that. And so I would recommend it. I do recommend it. For me, it helped to kind of ease into it. If somebody offers, if I'm staying at a family or friend's house and they're like, oh, you can sleep inside, I'm like, no, I'll stay in my van. Yeah. Like, because this really is home. And
Rowan, if people are interested in learning more about you, tell us your social media, YouTube.
So I have my YouTube channel. It's just Rowan. And I do travel vlogs and life vlogs, and really just illustrate my journey of starting kind of from scratch and working towards my goal of land in a tiny home.
Rowan, thank you so much for sharing your home with us, and you've been a real inspiration. I think a lot of people have learned a lot, and you'll help people follow their dreams.
Thank you.
So folks, I know you've been inspired. You've got some great ideas here. Reach out to Rowan at her YouTube and address, and we will see you on the next video. See you then.